Welcome to Navigating Chronic Illness with Heart and Hope. I'm Valerie Alawiye and the founder of Coaching for Chronic Illness. Recently, I was sharing with a friend that I was embarking on this purpose project, and she asked me, "Why did you choose coaching for chronic illness?" It was then that I realized that I've never shared my story. So, this episode is going to be more personal as I share my why, and hopefully, it will resonate with you. In my early 20s, and I'm not going to say how long ago that was, I was finally living my best life. I was thriving and advancing in my job. I had moved into a two-bedroom apartment with my cat, and I had just spent a year getting into the best shape of my life. Up until that point, aside from seasonal allergies and the occasional cold and flu, I was generally a healthy person. I also had a growth mindset, was resilient, and was often sought out by my loved ones for support and encouragement. Life was good. Then everything changed. I traveled to Ohio for an intensive 3-week training class that was required for my job. After class and studying each day, I did lots of sightseeing, went shopping, and ate good food. In short, I was having a great time. Then one day, I went to the store for some snacks and toiletries, and out of nowhere, I started experiencing digestive discomfort so extreme, I had to leave the store and race back to the hotel. At first, I assumed that I was having a reaction to something I ate, either stomach flu or food poisoning, but I quickly realized that something was really wrong with my body. Now I'm dating myself, but this all happened back in the day before widespread cell phone and internet usage. So I had to use a landline to call my doctor's office back home in between classes. I remember that the doctor's phone line was always busy, and it took several days for me to get through and to finally make an appointment for when I returned home. Unconsciously, I assumed that whatever the issue was, it would be treatable and curable. I had no reason or experience to believe differently. Fast forward a few weeks. I returned home, met with my doctor, and underwent extensive testing, and I was finally given a definitive diagnosis: ulcerative colitis, which is one of two irritable bowel diseases. Following that diagnosis, there were four truths that were difficult for me to comprehend. The first truth: chronic means perpetual, ongoing, always, never ending, forever. Truth number two: medication may not be effective. Truth number three: side effects are real. And truth number four: illness can be lonely. To the last truth, I discovered that many people are uncomfortable being around illness. They don't know what to say or how to help, and they sometimes fear for themselves. Likewise, I didn't know what help I needed, other than I really didn't want to feel so alone. I went to appointments and learned about my illness alone. I administered sometimes uncomfortable and painful medical treatments alone. After a year of healthy eating and regular exercise, I found myself unable to eat almost anything, and I became so exhausted that I could barely function. I sat home, alone, scared and in pain, with only my sweet cat to comfort me. Getting out of my house became an unbelievable challenge as I tried to manage my symptoms. I developed extreme anxiety about traveling, shopping, or attending social events because I had no idea how my body would react. Would I be able to sit through everything? I often worried if there was even a restroom available. Even going to the grocery store and smelling food could send me into a tailspin, and I still get anxious going to the grocery store today. I barely made it to work each day. Then I was in and out of the restroom all day and barely made it home in the evenings, which was further exacerbated when I moved and had to commute 2 hours or more a day. The different medications I tried made me gain weight, lose hair. I developed acne and retained a lot of body fluid. They affected my sleep, my vision, my memory, and my moods, and they made my joints ache. such that it hurt to move at all. Despite my efforts and those of my doctor, nothing seemed to heal me, and I became malnourished, anemic, and dehydrated. Even so, I had to try to continue with my daily life. I was single and I had to earn my own income and take care of myself. So I got up every day, I dressed nice and did my hair and makeup. I smiled and laughed and I helped others to the point of exhaustion without asking for anything for myself in return. And then one day, I just couldn't do it anymore. I was admitted into the hospital for a week, then spent a month at home relearning how to eat and trying to regain my strength. For the next 8 years, through promotions, marriages, relocations, job changes, and family tragedy, I suffered largely in silence. Only those closest to me knew the battle I was fighting as I tried to understand and navigate a body that betrayed me. I struggled to manage stress, which contributed heavily to my flare ups. I struggled to find a doctor who understood my desire to have a child one day, and I didn't want to take medication that could potentially harm me or my future baby. Thankfully, through much prayer, research, and trial and error, we finally discovered a medical protocol that got me into sustained remission. Eventually, I was able to get off all medication, and I only took what was needed to treat the occasional flare up. And we were able to have our beautiful baby boy that I always dreamed of. In the subsequent years, I was introduced to coaching as a client. It immediately resonated with me as a way to substantively help others to uncover their values, create their own vision and goals, and to make meaningful progress in their lives. So I embarked on the path of obtaining the training and experience necessary to become a certified coach. In my interactions with my clients over time, I began to notice that grief would show up for them in unexpected ways. And I sought grief coaching through the Institute of Professional Grief Coaches and the From Grief to Gratitude Coach Certification Program to not only better support my clients, but to also navigate my own grief. But there was one type of grief that I never acknowledged and had put at the back of my mind, and that was the grief related to my chronic illness. For a long time, life was good until it wasn't again. After over 2 decades following my initial diagnosis, I found myself in a familiar yet unexpected place. Another unrelenting flare up that was resistant to strong medications with debilitating side effects, another hospital stay, and an even longer recuperation period at home. In a moment of despair, I remember saying to myself, I wish I had someone to help me think about how to move forward and how my life needs to change as a result of this. And then I realized that I am that person, but not just for myself, but for others as well. I had skills I didn't have before. I had wisdom, empathy, compassion, awareness, and a support system that I didn't have before. I had developed tools, templates, and frameworks for myself for everything from medication and meal planning to packing my bag for day trips and medical appointments to self-care kits for hard days. One important thing that I have learned through grief coaching is that no two people grieve the same way. Similarly, no two people navigate chronic illness the same. Even people with the same diagnosis not only react differently to illness and treatment, but also have different hopes, dreams, abilities, challenges, and support systems. I'm not a medical professional, and my role as a coach is not to diagnose or treat illness, but instead to partner with you, the person, and to help you define who you are or who you want to be at this stage of your life, if, with, or in spite of your illness, to help you reassess and redefine your goals and dreams, to clearly articulate your values, create or grow your support network, identify obstacles and challenges, and design what to either live with or how to overcome them, and celebrate your wins, no matter how small, because you are still here and you matter. I also partner with caregivers who need to maintain or regain themselves while supporting and caring for others. At the beginning of 2024, I faced death, and out of the ashes, coaching for chronic illness and navigating chronic illness with heart and hope were born. Today, I am sitting here grateful that I'm alive to help others. I appreciate you being here and listening to my story. You will find more support on my website and future episodes of Navigating Chronic Illness with Heart and Hope. Until next time, thank you.
Want to learn more? Subscribe to my newsletter for ongoing reflections, free tools, and notification of new episodes of Navigating Chronic Illness with Heart and Hope with Valerie Alawiye, my video series on grief, illness, and gentle healing. Or visit us on our website at coachingforchronicillness.com to explore options to receive more support.